Welcome back. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange has changed its look. It's revealed its new brand identity today, including a logo and website designed by Interbrand Sampson. It says the new identity was inspired by the company's desire to be recognized and regarded as the leading African exchange. The JSE is one of the top 20 exchanges in the world in terms of market capitalization. Well, let's discuss further. We're joined by Zeona Jacobs, Director of Issuer and Investor Relations at the JSE, as well as the CEO of Interbrand Sampson De Villiers. Thank you both for joining us. Zeona, let me ask for you, let me start with you. What is the timing all about and this desire to be seen as a leading market? Because we are, as I understand, the leading market in Africa and a world leader if you look at the regulation of securities, what we've been lauded for.
I think that it's important for an exchange, or any business for that matter, not to be complacent with where it is at the moment. You know, in terms of the JSE itself, over the last 2 years, we've embarked on a new strategy to become a fully integrated exchange, which means that we list companies, we trade, we clear, and we settle with a variety of different markets. And in our quest to become a leading integrated African marketplace, it was important for us to look at how our stakeholders view us.
You are trying to attract companies from other African countries to come and list on the JSE, and then of course you're trying to attract global investors to invest in the JSE and have access to South African companies, African companies. Is it more important than ever to try and help that perception of us as the gateway to Africa, especially in light of Nigeria's recent news?
So for us, you know, we're looking at the African listed companies to attract African listings, secondary listings in particular, but also we're looking to attract global listings with African assets, and that gives us that bridge to the continent. We saw last year with the listing on Glencore. We also had Camac earlier this year, which is listed on NYSE, on the New York Stock Exchange, but its assets are really African assets. So for us, it's really important that we create that environment in which global companies can list.
Doug, tell me about the thinking behind this new brand that we have up.
Well, I think the starting part there is that this is not a rebadging, this is a rebranding. And taking the vision that's come out of the JSE and how they wanted to reposition themselves, take advantage of the history of the organization, but absolutely, as Zeona says, position this organization ready to take its rightful place, if you like, in the rest of Africa, but also in the rest of the world. So the look itself had to move from what was a pretty old industrial kind of look as it was put forward to one that really signifies that the organization is in a digital age, and that the brand itself, we've stripped 50 odd years off its age and positioned it appropriately. If you look at next to Thomson Reuters or the New York Stock Exchange, it has that same freshness, that same look and feel, and it's built for a very, very strong strategic platform. So it is not just a beauty parade. This is a brand that is built to deliver on a business strategy.
It does look quite digital, but I wanted to ask you about that. As I understand, we want to attract more investors, more individual investors as well, because we have these huge institutions primarily investing on the JSE. Didn't that need a sort of more human, connective look?
Well, it's not a soft, it doesn't need to be a soft look to be connected. I think, you know, the way that a lot of trades and exchanges take place these days is in the digital space, and you're seeing a lot of it with banks and the kind of way that we work online. So you also wanted something that was a bit younger. You see, we're not using the fat capitals that came out of the original brand, so it's toned down a little bit. The colors are obviously a whole lot more friendly, so it is very much an approachable brand from a visual point of view. But the trick always is the kind of meaning that Zeona and her team put behind this brand, and that's what's really been the best part of the entire challenge, is that the JSE has changed significantly inside, and what we're doing right now is we're reflecting that externally.
The reaction was very mixed on Twitter today, so we're going to bring up some of the comments. Quibus Ace loved the new logo. Let's move to Dryer. It's almost impossible to read. I think we should stick to the old logo. Why change a winning recipe? So I'll come back to that. Tom Robbins, the new JSE logo has been criticized for apparently looking too Chinese. The Chinese don't invest in the JSE. Any thoughts? I guess any change comes with with difficulty sometimes welcome?
You know, I think the new logo for us really comes, if you look at the lines, particularly in the E and the J that we've used, we see ourselves as a platform for growth. What we do as the exchange is we link people. We link, listed companies to investors. We link global markets to African issuers, for instance. So for us, the logo was also tested globally for its acceptance. So we did a culture kind of acceptability test, and it actually scored very well. In terms of the response to the logo, what was very important for us at the JSE, that our internal audience, our staff in particular, really understood the need for change. We are a technology company. More than half of our staff are IT people. And it's very important for us to operate in this digital space. And so whilst most exchanges represent themselves by X, we were also looking for differentiation. We wanted to stand out from the rest. So for us, that new, clean, it's quite simple, it's modern, and it's digital. So for us, that was very important. The website is an important part of how we present ourselves. Our marketing budgets are quite small, so presenting ourselves, our shop window is the website. So that was critical for us. That simplicity in everything we do, it was essential.
You're talking about a global benchmark. And it has to be said that there is a concern that the big players on the JSE, the big companies, are actually dual listed. So some people say the JSE is not South African enough, because these companies are often orientated overseas. Then we're trying to get small African companies in as well. Should we benchmark ourselves globally or come up with something that's African and different? I guess you would think about that.
I think for us it's a combination. I think, what we say is we are modern African marketplace. We are very proud of our African heritage, but it's very important for us that we are global. Between 15 and 25% of our investors on the exchange at any given time are foreign. So we have to have that global positioning. If you look at high frequency trading, everything is fast moving. So that is important for us in a global environment. With regards to the JSE not being South African, I think a number of those dual listed companies with a secondary listing on the exchange are entering the African markets. If you look at a Tiger Brands, you look at an MTN, all of those companies are listed on the JSE with an African footprint. So we represent them wherever we go as the exchange.
Being that conduit.
And being that bridge.
Doug, what do you think about it? Because looking at movements on the JSE, sometimes we're lumped in with emerging markets. Do you think branding could actually help South Africa stand out among that group?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Zeona's point just now is absolutely critical. We build brands that fit comfortably in the global context, and organizations that have the vision and the understanding of that. You don't have to be non-African or non-South African to fit into the global brand positioning comfortably. You have to aspire to that. You have to have an organization that can legitimately and authentically deliver on that. And the JSE can do both. So having a look and a feel that presents its ability, if you like, visually to fit in with any global brand in their space appropriately, they've got it, and it's the right way to pursue the brand building exercise.
Well, we'll follow reactions, and thank you both for coming in this evening. That was Zeona Jacobs, Director of Issuer and Investor Relations at the JSE, as well as the CEO of Interbrand Sampson, Doug De Villiers.